I'm Chris Gardner of the Houston Round Ball Review, and joining me is Rob Lanier, head coach of the Rice Owls men's basketball program. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great. Doing great. I'm actually in Atlanta right now with my wife. I have to speak at a coach's clinic tomorrow for the NABC. And so I thought I'd use this opportunity to come to our home here and spend a couple of days with my wife. So a couple of days of relaxing time, if there's such a thing.
Happy wife, happy life, Coach. You're a
Hmm.
smart man. So, and thank you for taking time to do this because initially one suggestion was doing it live on my Thursday show,
Hmm.
but you couldn't because you're going to be flying to Atlanta. So we're doing it today. So it's all good.
All right.
How long have you been head coach at Rice?
Well, you were there on day one, so I think it's been 4 weeks, 5 weeks maybe. Uh, Hard to keep up, but it's it's been a whirlwind to say the least.
And what has been that process? Because SMU decided to go in a different direction, and you touched on at the press conference at Rice. So, what has it been like adjusting to Rice, the campus lifestyle on South Main?
Well, it's been great. I've certainly been made to feel quite welcome, and there's definitely an energy and an excitement around Rice athletics, independent of my situation, and that's exciting. And I think a lot of that can be attributed to the leadership of President DeRoche that he wants for Rice to raise the level athletically. And I think that led to the decision to bring Tommy McClellan on board. And so I think the energy starts there. But even from the press conference itself, there was a certain energy that you felt in that room. I was at another fundraising event last week that more of the same, just a lot of enthusiasm and energy. And I do think athletics in general is a great way for people who love the school to celebrate it.
Hmm.
And I think that's starting to come into fruition at Rice right now. So I'm excited about I think the timing is great.
Now, you've been a recruiter, you've been a head coach, so you've been to Houston many, many times,
Hmm.
I'm sure, in the past. But for folks who have not seen any of your teams play, how would you describe your coaching philosophy, your coaching style?
Well, defense is at the core of what we do. And we feel like that's an area where we need to establish ourselves. And so we do that. We pick up 94 feet and we try to play with pace. A lot of people talk about that. That's important to us. Um, we've been a very good rebounding team, particularly on the offensive end. We try to distinguish ourselves there. But um, we're a team that wants to play in high possession games and but still excel defensively. And I think a lot of times there's this notion that if you're a great defensive team, that your team has to play slow, and I don't believe that to be the case. And so we try to put that all together to play with pace, but to be to provide a lot of resistance on the defensive end and allow that to be what spurs our offense. And so we've had a measure of success doing that as a staff.
How long have you been a coach?
Well, a coach, I got in 1990, so I just finished, I think, season 35. Um, and then I'm going into my 10th year as a head coach.
Mhm. Who have been some of your biggest influences in coaching?
Yeah, it goes all the way back. I started out with a guy by the name of Jack Armstrong. He was a very young head coach at Niagara University back in 1990, and uh, really almost obsessive compulsive in his organization. And but I learned a lot from that. And I spent 2 years there with him. And then I went to work for a guy at my alma mater named Jim Barron, who's one of the all-time great people that I've ever been around in the business, and uh, uh, coaches with a lot of passion and a lot of love and care for young people. And being around him had a tremendous influence on me in terms of the way he cared about everybody around the program, around the university. He was a tremendous influence and sort of a big brother figure for me when I got my first really full time assistant coaching job. And then the time I spent with Rick Barnes kind of helped me develop more of a blueprint for how I would build a program and what that might look like. Everything from player development to academic support, etc. The actual model that I got from Rick was really influential. And then I had an opportunity to be a head coach for 4 years at a really young age. And then spending 4 years with Billy Donovan gave me a fresh perspective offensively. How would I approach the game from an offensive standpoint versus the defensive mindset that I got from being around Rick? So I spent 4 years with Billy, and that really did shape the way I want to empower the players offensively and without sacrificing discipline. And then I went back and I spent another 8 years with Rick Barnes, and I went back with more experience. So I developed an even greater appreciation for, number one, the longevity of his career and the consistency at which he's been so elite. And then I got another opportunity to be a head coach with all of that information. And when I went to Georgia State.
This week has been busy for Rice. Tim has sent news releases almost daily about new additions to the basketball team and recent days to your staff.
Mhm.
So if you don't mind, just touch on the players who have signed to be Rice Owls this coming season.
Yeah, I want to make sure I get it right. The guys who have signed versus the guys who haven't, so that I don't get in trouble.
Well,
Most
let me
recently,
do it like this, Coach,
yeah,
because I did this for Thursday's show, so I don't know if it's in order, but I got some of them right here. Like Aaron Powell
yeah,
is your high school senior,
yep,
and
yeah,
just
yeah,
a little bit about him.
yeah. Aaron has basketball in his blood. His father is the head trainer for the LA Clippers, so he's grown up around the game in a unique way in terms of his exposure to the game, and he's a big time athlete. He's got shot making ability, but speed, quickness, athleticism, really high level stuff that he brings to the table, and a unique perspective on the game coming up around professional athletes his entire life. So we're really excited about Aaron, high character young man.
And then I think Thursday we had Jalen Smith announced. So thoughts on Jalen Smith?
Yeah, Jalen is special, man. He's actually 6'4". It says 6'2" there, but he's actually bigger than that.
Okay.
Normally it's the other way around. They list
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
and they're not quite as big. And then Jalen is definitely one of the best athletes I've ever seen,
Wow.
ever been around. Unique wingspan and athleticism that is elite for sure. And at the same time, he can shoot the ball, he can handle the ball. He's a good passer, and he's elite defensive talent. The challenge for him will be to be more aggressive. He's one of those guys that is so selfless, almost to a fault. And Jalen is going to redshirt this coming year.
Okay.
So we have a guy in the program that we know is there who is a big time talent.
And next, another Powell, but not
Yeah,
related, as far as I know, Caden
yeah,
Powell.
yeah. Not related, but most people know the Mountain West is a big time conference. I think they have 4 teams in the NCAA tournament. So here's a guy who's played quality minutes for 2 years in the league and started every game as a sophomore. And he's got the basketball IQ, and defensive grasp, and understanding of how the game should be played, and a motor. And he's a brilliant young man who apparently has built a computer. He's got a tremendous academic background, comes from a great family. Really excited about Caden. He's going to be an impact for us.
Next, Trey Patterson.
Yeah,
And
Trey.
I remember the notes in the press release. You mentioned he's battled injuries in his college
Yeah,
career. So just thoughts on him.
yeah. Just luck would have it that we get an opportunity to be a part of Trey's journey at a time where he's finally going to be healthy. And that's awesome. You know, his father and I were high school teammates. He came out of high school with a big time reputation. I mean, that's why he was going to Villanova in the first place. You don't get the opportunity to play for Jay Wright if you're not truly talented.
Mm-hmm.
And so he actually enrolled at Villanova in the spring of his senior year. So he enrolled early
Wow.
and
Okay.
sat out the year. And at the end of that year, Jay Wright retired.
Hmm.
And then he got a chance to play for a new coach, but he had some injury stuff that was bothering him. He had to have surgery in the spring of that first year that kept him out the second year. And so he hasn't really had an opportunity to make good on his significant talent. And now he's finally healthy. And so we get to be a part of this particular part of his journey, and couldn't be more excited. You know, he brings a lot to the table for us. So we're gonna move at a pace and meet him where he's at health wise, but he's trending up right now. So we're truly excited.
Do you know how many, I guess, years of eligibility he has left?
Two.
Two.
He's got 2 years to play. He's a graduate. So
Okay.
he graduated in 3 years and maintains 2 years of eligibility. So it's a great situation for us.
Next, we got Denver.
Yeah, my man Den is he transferred to us from Georgetown, and he was going to be a rotation player. He was firmly in the rotation going into last season, and unfortunately, he had an injury. And while he was injured, some other guys moved into that rotation spot that he had secured, and he wasn't cleared to play until 9 games into the season. And he's a strong student. He's got some aspirations beyond his undergraduate degree. He wanted to work on graduate school. So his parents thought it would be a great idea for him to redshirt the year, maintain 3 years of eligibility. And so we get to be the beneficiary of that at Rice. Big time shooter, big time teammate, high energy guy who has an infectious approach to the team game. Couldn't be happier to have Denver with us.
You got Trae Broadnax. About Trey.
Yeah,
Other Trey.
impact player. Going to play the point for us. Combo point guard, big guard at legit 6'4", 200. Another guy who's listed accurately. He is 6'4". Jalen is listed inaccurately, but this is a mature young man, and he's ready to step in and play. And we're going to put a lot of trust and a lot of responsibility in Trey. He's a strong physical guard, gets to the free throw line, gets to the paint, capable shooter. Another guy who is a graduate with 2 years of eligibility. So tremendous experience that Trey brings to the table.
And then this young man is from
Houston.
H-Town. Yes,
Yeah.
Kellen Amos. So
Yeah.
what about Kellen?
Yeah, Kellen is 6'6", 6'7", and elite level athleticism and skill. And his numbers are particularly impressive because this past season he was on a team that won 24 games, and we need that as much as we need his contributions statistically. The first time me and Trey talked, he said, "I've gotten addicted to winning."
Okay.
That the feeling of coming to practice every day and going to the weight room and being in the gym is addicting when you're winning. It just, everything feels better. And so there's some energy that he brings along those lines to complement his significant talent. So excited about what Kellen can bring to us.
So do you have any more names you can share with me right now?
Well,
unofficially or not officially?
Well, Emory Lanier was a rotation player for us. My son shot 39% from the field. I mean, from the three, he shot in the mid-40s from the field, and he's got a lot of experience as well. And he's a guy who plays with great passion on the defensive end. He'll become a fan favorite. He'll be on the floor taking charges, diving on balls. Like he's He's a guy who's won 2 state championships, one in Tennessee and one in the state of Georgia. Very few people can claim that they won a state championship in 2 separate states. And it's not a coincidence. He's got a winning mentality. So he will make a contribution to our culture in addition to his contributions he's going to make on the court.
How would you define the Rob Lanier, now Rice Owls men's basketball culture?
Well, a work in progress. In terms of what we want it to be, we want it to be a family. And as a family, we want to have some great experiences together. And you do that with hard work. And that work starts with conditioning, and then it manifests through great defense. And I think teams that become great on the defensive end, what they have done in effect is that they've submitted to something for the sake of the team. And so if you become great defensively, that is where you become a team. And it's hard to submit to the team defensively and be selfish when we get the ball. And so we like to believe it starts with our defense. The defense starts with hard work. And that hard work is a byproduct of the collective effort of the staff and the family environment that we create by being hands-on with these guys in their lives.
Do you have any more open spots for this coming roster for this coming season?
We do. There are a couple unanswered situations still to be solved, if you will. We've got to make another addition to our front line, and we'd like to add another ball handler to our backcourt.
And overall, what was your message to these young men? I think you even had at least two Rice players decide to stay. But overall, to them and to your newcomers, the transfers, to come to Rice. Why Rice? Why stay at Rice? Why play for Coach Rob Lanier?
Well, opportunity. I think young people, like I said, want to have great experiences, and there's a certain level of confidence that I have that this is going to be a great experience. And if you've already been at Rice, why give up on a Rice education, thinking that the grass is greener, when the fact of the matter is it's not. There's a lot of green grass in front of us right now, and we happen to be in a conference that has really been affected by the transfer portal. So the fact that we have a relatively new roster only means that we're operating on par with the rest of the league. And so we're not playing from behind in that regard. And so although we still have to add some pieces, there's a lot to play for. And so there's a lot of opportunity associated with that. So everybody that is coming in who wants to have an opportunity to, like in Trey Patterson's case, to resume his career and have a fresh start, great opportunity for him. For Caden Powell to take his game to another level, great opportunity for him. And you can do that throughout the roster. Really, Denver Anglin was a 4-star guy coming out of high school who visited Stanford, Northwestern, Providence, UConn, and Georgetown. We have him at Rice, and he gets an opportunity through his journey to have a fresh start. So there's a lot of capable guys who get to sink their teeth in and really become the best version of themselves while getting one of the best educations in the world.
How has the transfer portal changed who you recruit? Do you recruit? Is your goal ideally to have more high school seniors than portal kids, or now more portal than high school kids?
The goal is to have balance. The way it's changed is that you're recruiting more transfers than you ever have. If you had 1 or 2 transfers on your roster in the past, that would be significant. And now the balance has definitely shifted where everybody's recruiting more transfers. What we want to do is have balance in our classes with the hope that we will engage and have good enough relationships that we can mitigate some of the turnover in our program. And this year, notwithstanding, what we'd like to be able to do is avoid situations where we have too many guys in one particular class, which we may not be able to avoid that in a year or so. But you don't want to have 8 seniors, for example. You'd like to stagger your classes and create some balance so that you can still lean into the player development piece, which lends itself to recruiting high school guys. And because of the academic reputation of our school, there's a particular pool of high school guys that you're going to be able to recruit from. And so we want to continue to do that, absolutely. And then continue to be selective about the transfer pool and try to find balance in that and have guys like Denver Anglin who have 3 years of eligibility remaining. We want to do the best we can of not setting ourselves up for rebuilding by having too many guys in one class at any particular time.
What's your thoughts on NIL?
I think without getting on too much of a soapbox about what got us here, I don't begrudge young people for being in the position that they find themselves in. Certainly, it isn't of their doing, and it certainly has evolved in such a way that it's not really organized. So I don't think I have too much shelter from it at Rice, but we do have some, again, because I think by and large, people who want to be a part of a high academic institution like this are going to put that at the forefront of the decision-making process. But we won't be immune to the effects of NIL. So I don't think we can afford to be on the outside looking in. And at the same time, our recruiting efforts can and should not be driven by NIL. And so there's a sweet spot for us that we have to find so that the young people who do choose us don't leave over something that ultimately is not life-changing, that they stay here and finish out their degree at Rice. And at the same time, they feel like they're a part of this, what's going on with so many of their peers. And there's a balance there. But when people are driven by that first and foremost, we won't be interested.
How close are you to finalizing non-conference schedule?
We still got some work to do there. And fortunately for us, there was still work to do because when you come into a job, it's always best to be in charge of making those decisions instead of having a schedule thrust upon you that you may or may not be in favor of. So if it's not a great schedule, it'll be on us. But you always rather be in that situation when you're making those decisions.
Overall, what does your ideal non-conference schedule look like?
I think when you're trying to construct a roster that you have to be mindful of the team building aspect of it. In an ideal world, when we get the program to the level that we want to have it at, I think you swing for the fences. That's been my approach. People thought I was crazy with the schedule we had last year, coming off a year where we had only won 10 games. Why would you make the schedule more challenging? We made it more challenging and we got better as a result. And so I don't think we can pick up where we left off in that regard. I think we have to build a roster first, take that roster and build a team. With that team, have a certain measure of success, and then challenge the team thereafter. And so try to build a schedule now that creates enough flexibility for us to strengthen it the following year.
2 more questions for you, Coach Lanier. What are your overall thoughts of the conference, the AAC, the American Athletic Conference?
Yeah, I think it's a great league, comparable to the Atlantic 10, where I spent 5 years, the Mountain West, which has really been successful. I think it's in the realm of those leagues. Great coaches, tremendous talent. We've obviously been hit hard by the portal. Great leadership. You know, to lose Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston, and then have Florida Atlantic join the league, UAB, North Texas, these teams come in and as a league didn't really skip a beat. Mm-hmm. And then South Florida just jumped up and dominated the league start to finish. And then Charlotte being a factor in the top half of the league. A real credit to conference leadership to shape a league that now has an opportunity to strengthen its identity going forward. So great coaches, some great new coaches coming into the league. But we've had some continuity as a league coaching wise, not a lot of turnover there, but we've added two great young coaches to our conference. So it's a very, very competitive league and great coaches.
Final question. What's your message to Rice Owls fans, alums, supporters, basketball fans in Houston? Why should they come see Rice Owls men's basketball?
Well, to the alums, I say this often that, we all get these jobs, and as a coach, you're conditioned to do the job all the way up until the point where you start to engage and feel the passion that people have for their alma mater. Then it goes from a job to a responsibility. If you don't have that experience, then you just go about doing the job, and you still have the experiences you're going to have in your little world. But when you start to feel the passion and energy from people who love the institution, then you certainly feel a high level of responsibility. And I love that. And I feel that already. So I would say to those people, first and foremost, that we're going to do them proud. Number one, because we're going to give great effort and we're going to play really hard. And when you watch us play, you're going to feel like there's a fight taking place and that we're in the middle of it. And so I want our fans to be excited about that, the effort, the defense, and the camaraderie that we're going to build inside of this team, that inside of the program will be one where you will feel a connection with these guys because they're going to be working so hard together. And that message for fans who just want to observe good basketball, the same thing. We're going to play really hard, and we're going to win. And I think that's what attracts people is winning. And certainly we want the students to come out, but we got to do our part first. And so we'll concentrate on what we got to do. And then we'll try to, the students, this is their school and this is their classmates. And we want them to come out and support them. But we need to create a buzz first, for our core group of fans that are there all the time. We want those people to feel like we're doing a great job representing them and let the buzz get created from that group.
Thanks very much, Coach. Rob Lanier, Rice Owls men's basketball head coach, and we will keep in touch.
Thanks, Chris.
Coach, anytime you want to talk to me and spread the word about Rice Owls, I'm here for you.
All right. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. You take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.